today, I want to talk about time. We've been on holiday for a while, as you know, and time is a different place when you're on holiday. It's just a different thing because, when we think about it, we go, oh, well, just over 4 weeks ago we left and we were here. And it's like, well, that seems in some ways a long time ago, and yet in terms of being here a month ago, it doesn't feel like that was that long ago to me. It's like this is just kind of back into routine. And time has that funny way of sometimes feeling fast and sometimes feeling slow. And one of the things that I observed in the different places we were at was that sometimes we were just on island time. Get up, do what we want when we feel like it. Oh, there's plenty of time for that. We're in Florida. We're there for 6 days. Lots of time. And then on the back end of the trip, we were in Tokyo, and we're, moving around with all these tourists and Japanese professionals, and everybody's go, 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 jamming into the subway over here, and people running to get in the subway so they can get a seat as fast as they can. Time is a big deal. And so it had me just thinking about, well, what does the Word talk about with time? Because, really, the Word teaches that we have eternity. So there seems to be this kind of no hurry message to the Word. You've got forever. You're going to one day make it to the next life. And if you say, well, I would like to learn how to do this, no problem. There's time for that. And then when you're done learning that, you go, well, I want to learn that. No problem. You've got all eternity. Take your time. There's no hurry. And so when I think about all of this in terms of, well, we say the Lord's Prayer, and we want heaven on earth, as in heaven, so upon the earth. I like this idea of an abundance of time and treating time as if it's kind of worthless, and that there's always more of it. So it prompted me to start looking around. What passages do we have in the scriptures and in the writings that talk about time, and how do we marry these kind of contradictory ways of holding time? So that's kind of where my thought process was, and that's what I want to share with you today, is just looking through some readings. We've got several of them for you today. And the first one is from Secrets of Heaven 1274, and this is a good place to start, I think. It says, with angels, no idea of time exists. It is the same in the world of spirits, but more completely so in heaven. Did you catch that? There's no time in the world of spirits, but even less of the no time in heaven, right? So what then must be the situation with the Lord, to whom every single human being is inescapably most fully present and beneath his view in providence? So there's no time in the world of spirits, but there's even less in heaven, and the Lord has even less of this nothing, right? So you just keep chopping up that nothing into the smaller bits of nothing, and that's what the Lord has, right? So I don't know how that works, but that's what it says. And I don't know about you, but when I read that, I think, okay, from here to world of spirits to heaven, the Lord, right? You're going up this chain, and each time you move up this chain, there's less time, right? There's less. Even though there's not anything to begin with, there's still less of it. But what I'm seeing is that time isn't good, right? Right? The closer you get to the Lord, the less there is of it. Time doesn't sound like it's really a good thing, does it? If you take away it to get closer to the Lord, well, then it can't be any good, right? So how do you get less time? Less time in our life? Oh, well, it's not about cutting your years short, right? It's not about living less. But how do you become less of a, perhaps, slave to time? How do you get those states where, you're just happy and moving along? And then when you do, you're getting closer to the Lord? Isn't that what we're trying to say here? Oh, yeah. We've all had this teaching in the new church, right? We've been around long enough that, in heaven there isn't time. It's a state. So to bring heaven on earth, we have to be in this state of doing things that we enjoy, where time moves quickly. It's not this linear progression, it's just enjoying a state. And we've all, had those kind of moments. And this is the kind of the way the writings talk about time existing for angels. We get a good example of this in the Genesis story about Jacob and Leah and Rachel, right? Genesis 29 says, Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, I'll work for you for 7 years in return for your younger daughter, Rachel. And Laban says, hey, it's better that I give her to you than to some other man. Stay here with me. So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Right? We've experienced this. I haven't had 7 years feel like a few days, but you get the idea where, hey, time compresses when we do something that we love. And Secrets of Heaven 38:27 is explaining the inner meaning of this passage, and it gives us some good information, I think, on how we look at time. It says, when a man or a woman is in a state of love or celestial affection, they are in an angelic state. That is to say, as if not in time. Provided, this is a big one here, provided there is no impatience in the affection. Ooh. For impatience is a corporeal affection. And it's insofar as a person is in it, so far as they are in time, but insofar as a person is not in it, so far they are not in time. By the affection of genuine love, a person is withdrawn from bodily and worldly things, for his mind is elevated towards heaven and is thus withdrawn from the things of time. The reason why time appears to be something is that we reflect upon things that do not belong to the affection or love, thus which are tedious. Ooh. All right, so there's no time when we're doing something that we love, except when we're impatient with it. Oh, all right, now that makes a lot of sense to me. All right, I think about things that I've done over the years. Like, I really enjoyed learning to play guitar, except when I hated it, because the progress was slow and I wasn't very good and it took me a long time and I wanted to bash the guitar over a pile of rocks, right? The love of learning was overwhelmed with this corporeal, this worldly impatience, right? That's what ruined it for me. Same thing with like playing cricket. I enjoy playing cricket, except when I hate it. And we have these kind of hobbies where we, things we like to do, but when the things don't go fast enough, they don't go the way we want them to, we don't get the result we want, boy, we get impatient. And that's when time kind of reappears back into something that we love. So, it's like, I like it because I think about this, in this heavenly state of learning and expanding and growing. Oh yeah, I'm all right there. And then all of a sudden, with impatience, it all just comes crashing back down to earth. So impatience may be a problem, right? Doesn't sound like a positive attribute, does it? It's hard for us to get outside of time, but we can do it, and we just have to learn to not be impatient. And it's hard for us to get outside of time, and the writings tell us this. Swedenborg every now and again tells us some highest truth of the angels and says, oh, by the way, you really can't comprehend this, just so you know. Don't feel bad about it, but it's the way it is. And Secrets of Heaven 34:04 talks about, this is really hard for us to get. He says, that being so, things that are infinite and eternal present themselves to angels within appearances that are finite, though within the appearances such as are very far above the range of what man can comprehend. For example, man is quite incapable of possessing any idea of what is eternal except from what is temporal, right? So the only way we can get that eternity idea is by having some grounding in this reality that we know. And so when somebody says, oh, well, God has always existed, what does your mind do? It says, well, God was there 1,000 years ago. Yeah, God was there. Yeah, 10,000 years. Yep. You know, God was there 100,000. Yeah, he was still there then. A million years ago? Yeah. Was he there a billion years ago? Wow. Yeah. You know, so we still, when we think of forever, we always have these kind of connections to some sort of linear time. And what the writings are encouraging us to do is to try to take a look at these things from kind of almost like an Eastern Buddhist kind of Zen-like, yes, it just always was. You know, there is no beginning, there is no end, it just, you know, it's just there. And it's hard for us to capture that. And this is part of the reason why Jesus is born into the world, because, he was born on a day, maybe it wasn't December 25th, but he was born and he died, right? We understand that. This is God. He shows up. He does his miracles. Boom, right? We get that. And so the Lord's saying, yeah, I know you have a hard time comprehending no time, and that's why I'm going to give you some of these appearances to help you connect. You can connect to God better when you see him in time. Jesus is finite, but at the same time, well, you know, he's infinite because there is no time. So this is really difficult, right? Time is afforded to us in this life, but yet it doesn't really exist. So how do we reconcile this? You know, can you just be on island time all the time? Because, hey, it doesn't really exist. It's just an appearance, right? Yet, if you look throughout the Bible, there are plenty of examples where we are told to hurry up, get moving, chop, let's go. Because time is still real for us, right? We have instructions in the Word where we're told, let's go. And the one that I found a lot of let's go is the Sodom and Gomorrah story from Genesis 19. You'll see that the story is, it's picking up where the angels are guarding Lot, right? The man named Lot. They are guarding him in his house, and the bad guys are banging on the door saying, let us in, we're going to get you and take advantage of you. And this is where the story goes. Genesis 19. He says, but the men inside reached out and pulled Lot back into the house and shut the door. So they're protecting Lot. And then they struck the men who were at the door of the house, young and old, with blindness, so they could not find the door. The two men, and these are the angels, right? These are the angels. The two men said to Lot, do you have anyone else here, sons-in-law, sons, daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of here, because we are going to destroy this place. The outcry to the Lord against its people is so great that he has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-laws who were pledged to marry his daughters. He said, hurry and get out of this place, because the Lord is about to destroy the city. But his sons-in-law thought he was joking. Apparently Lot had a good sense of humor, right? But with the coming of the dawn, the angels urged Lot, saying, hurry, take your wife and your two daughters who are here, or else you'll be swept away when the city is punished. When he hesitated, the men grasped his hand and the hands of his wife and his two daughters, and he led them safely out of the city, for the Lord was merciful to them. As soon as he brought them out, one of them said, flee for your lives. Don't look back and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away. But Lot said to them, no, my lords, please. Your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have shown great kindness to me in sparing my life. But I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me, and I'll die. Look, here's a town near enough to run to, and it's small. Let me flee to that. It is very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared. He said to them, very well, I will grant this request too. I will not overthrow the town you speak of, but flee there quickly, because I cannot do anything until you reach it. So obviously the underlined areas are things that I've added to the text. It's not a quote, right? But you get the idea. The angels are saying, come on, move it, let's go, hurry up, quickly, right? There is times for urgency, right? There are times when you don't need to worry, but there are times when you need to get going. And this is a big deal, right? This is flee for your life. This isn't flee because you're going to miss the train. Flee, you're going to die. Flee, get out of here. This disaster is coming. The Lord is telling us the city's going to be destroyed. Get out. Don't drag your feet. What does Lot do? Well, he hesitates, right? And the angel's like, come on, come on, come on, come on, go, go, go. He's not moving as quickly as he needs to. And, you know, we've experienced that in life, right? Where we're trying to get someone who's seemingly just kind of dawdling along. Like, come on, we need to go. Come on, let's go. So what do the writings tell us about? Why is there this urgency here? What's going on? Because, you know, we know the Lord didn't literally destroy the city. The Lord doesn't do those things. So why are we given this appearance, right? There's got to be a meaning behind this. Well, thankfully, Secrets of Heaven 2406 gives us an idea of what's going on here. It says, the angels pressed Lot to hurry means that the Lord withheld them from evil and maintained them in good. This is clear from the meaning of hurrying and pressing as urging. That these words being withheld from evil is clear from both the internal sense of the words themselves and from what follows. The internal sense is that when the church starts to fall away from good that flows from charity, the Lord withholds its members from evil more forcefully than when the good of charity is present with them. What follows here makes the same point, which is that although the angels were pressing Lot to leave the city, he still lingered, and so, grasping him, his wife, and his daughters by the hand, they led them away and placed them outside the city. This means and describes the character of a person whose state is such. Yeah, right. I know, it's a lot of words. So the idea here, though, is that you have people, like at the beginning of the Genesis story, who want to do good, okay? They want to do the right thing. But as the Genesis story progresses, it's saying how, well, we move away from wanting to do good. We slowly just kind of care about knowing the truth. And so this story is, Lot's being saved is a picture of the Lord pulling us aside saying, okay, things are getting bad to the point where you don't even want to know the difference between right and wrong. I'm going to save Lot. Lot is this archetype for knowing the difference between right and wrong. Lord's saying, I don't want you to lose that too. So this hurrying up is pulling you away from evil influences, because if you stay in Sodom and Gomorrah, you're going to lose that desire, that interest in knowing the difference between right and wrong. These people are going to infect you. They're going to drag you down. You need to get out of there because this is going nowhere good. So there's urgency here to save that good part of you. And when you look again throughout scriptures to see other examples of hurrying up, move quickly, it's all around this kind of idea. Think of John the Baptist. Repent, flee the coming wrath, right? Jesus says plenty of times in Revelation, quickly, I am coming quickly. My reward is with me and I'm coming quickly. Quickly, flee, quickly do this. And it's all about saving whatever is good in you. If you have something good, make sure you preserve that. Get away from the evil, preserve the good. And this is urgent because, well, you know what? Your eternity depends on it, right? Isn't that the whole idea here? So there are lots of things you don't need to hurry on. You don't need to worry about catching the train. You don't need to show up about work on time. Oh, yeah, you do. But there is this difference, right? There's this different levels of importance. And so we have to kind of meld all this together, right? You know, okay, learn things, grow, and then you'll be in this timeless heavenly state. But what went with that? Oh, don't be impatient. Yeah, don't be impatient, because once you get to that higher place of enjoying what you're doing and you're feeling productive, what'll bring you back down to earth real fast? Impatience. Boom, you're right back here. No fun. You lost that heavenly connection. But you do need to make some hurrying, right? You need to hurry up when it comes to making changes in your life. And this last number here, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's from True Christianity. it talks about this, right? It says it's important for us to reform and see our life and make changes. And it says we don't actually have to change everything in our life. We have to just get ourselves to that state where we're willing to make change, right? We are in this world, and we have to do that while we're in this world. We can't be brought into the state of starting the path once we've passed on. You've got to start the process here. So you've got to have this willingness to learn, to know the difference between right and wrong, and that's why saving Lot's so important. You've got to have that there, because if you don't have that there, there's no heaven. And that second state of enjoying doing the right thing can come later, right? If you're willing to learn it and start this process of application, that's good enough. So the bar for heaven's pretty low. Bar for heaven's pretty low. But this is why, again, you see that when the Lord says quickly and urgently and flee, right? This is about making sure you do clear that low bar. So time in the scriptures has this funny thing, right? Lots of things, no hurry. But there are some things you do have to hurry on, like fleeing the Egyptians, fleeing in the desert, right? There are times where the Lord's saying, I'm trying to save you. And so that's kind of be the challenge for you as you go through life. When you think about time and spirituality, can you hold these two things? Can you hold the difference? Can you remember, oh, this is something I spiritually don't need to hurry up on, but this is something I do. I see that if I stay in this, if I stay in Sodom and Gomorrah, this is going to pull me down, right? This is going to pull me down. It's going to infect me. I need to flee from this, get away. But this other stuff, you know what? It's okay. Why do today what I can do tomorrow? Enjoy life. Don't be impatient. Enjoy the growth. Make sure you flee what you're supposed to flee. Amen.